'Cause fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Be the unbreakable tree. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, like diamonds, back again with Salt Strong Unchurched. My buddy Chris McAllister, I had him on the podcast a while back. He was the one that talked about the identity and how so many of us struggle with our own identity and why this is a big topic right now where people identify as this, identify as that. And a big reason a lot of people are very confused and even unhappy. And until you have a secure identity, that you're secure with who you are and how you were built and what your strengths are, etc., it's really, really tough to flourish and to really be fulfilled. And one of the things that he always says is be the tree. I've been on many calls with Chris, and we've done some coaching with him as a team. And every call he talks about be the tree, be the tree. And what he means by that, if you look at a tree just in general, and I'm talking about more of a grown tree, not just a baby or a little sapling. I'm talking about a tree that is a little bit mature, just like us as adults. And if you look at a tree, you've got the root system. You're constantly working on the root system. And more importantly, though, you have seasons. And he's always reminding us as a team that, guys, it can't always be spring and summer, meaning in terms of when you're producing fruit and awesome things are happening and the tree's green and luscious. It can't always be like that. And there's a reason, a God-specific reason that trees do go through different seasons. And the irony is in the summertime and in the spring, when let's just take a fruit tree, for instance, when it looks the best, it's more luscious, it's producing great fruit, it's not actually gaining any real strength at that point. It's just doing what it does. It's easy, it's natural for it. The irony is it's in the winter time when that tree and the root system and everything is truly becoming stronger to get ready for that next spring and summer so it can flourish again. And we are no different as humans. And we all know this. I've talked about it in some of my past experience with going through the cancer and the anxiety attacks. That was a season of winter for me. I didn't look my best. I didn't feel my best, but that was God strengthening me up for bigger things. And trees are no different. They're literally becoming stronger, even though they look bare. Like, think about a tree in the winter. It's lost its leaves, especially if it's like that same fruit tree. It's got zero fruit. It, in many cases, might even look just like it's dead. But that is the time that it is strengthening. The roots are strengthening. It's getting stronger and stronger. And so fast forward here, just recently, we've been dealing with some storms in and around Florida. And one of the things that we like to do as a family, and especially the one hurricane was getting close to us at one point, is we like to watch the Weather Channel. And if you've been around Florida and you've watched the Weather Channel or you've been through hurricanes like I have, you've seen one particular tree that looks like it's about to snap. And I'm talking about the palm tree, right? The palm trees are perfect for Florida. They made to withstand wind. It's like God created these palm trees to be in a place like Florida, the tropics, that's constantly dealing with some high winds. And a lot of people don't know, these palm trees, even the really, really big ones, they are made to withstand up to 150 mile an hour winds without snapping. And they can go like 40 to 50 degrees in terms of how they're bending without snapping. It is crazy. And we've got a couple at the condo that my parents have had for many, many, many years. And I remember watching Ian go through there. And it's in like the Port Charlotte area, and all those palm trees, every single one of them, with the exception of one, it was just one of the older ones, and it didn't actually snap. It just came out of the ground because it was a super old one. But those things, the Weather Channel was actually positioned. Like they actually had one of their head anchors there at the condo my parents own. That's never a good thing when the Weather Channel is posting up at your place to get footage of the craziness. And I remember seeing these palm trees, and in this recent one, my kids were asking, like, how do those trees do that without snapping? I mean, you've got a tree that normally is 100% vertical, right? And it's got for the most part, kind of a thin trunk. It's not like thick like an oak tree. It's pretty thin. And especially the taller ones, they get really thin towards the top. And these palm trees with these 100+ mile an hour winds they were literally going sideways. And so my kids had a great question is like, one, how does it do that without snapping? And two, how does it bend back, right? Like why doesn't the palm tree just, if it's been blown like that for 3 hours, 4 hours, how long did it take for the hurricane to get through? How does it know to come back to its natural position? What's really, really interesting and why I believe these palm trees are like us and we need to be the tree, if you will. I mean, they are perfectly created by God to withstand storms, right? And just like us, they are perfectly designed by God to be able to bend and to go back. And what a lot of people, don't know, a couple little cool facts is one, that the palm trees that are kind of clusters that have more than one, they are way more likely to survive a storm than ones that are a lone palm, if you will. So that lone palm, if it's all by itself, that is much more likely to actually be one of the ones that might snap or to tumble over like that one did that ironically was all by itself in the parking lot of my parents' condo unit. And what that means for us, I think you guys can probably put it together, is being together with people. It's all about relationships. I mean, isn't that wild that the lone palm, significantly higher risk of actually toppling over or snapping in a really, really high winds versus palm trees that happen to be together. The other thing is that when palm trees are getting bent like that and have that ability to bend, they are actually strengthening their roots like to a whole nother level, right? That is God pushing these things to the limit, and they are not only holding on for dear life, they're digging deeper. They are strengthening the roots in these storms, and they come back stronger than ever before, even to the point that they're able to bend back and get more closer to their natural vertical stance. There are some that you'll see that have a little bit of a sway, and there's only so much you can do when you have 140 mile an hour winds for an hour or more. But in most cases, those ones that are bent, even 40 degrees, are coming right back to where they were over time because they've been strengthened in that storm. And if you're wondering, all right, what can we learn from this? Well, one, I think we have to accept the storms. As tough as that is, and as tough as I hate doing it myself. I'm like, oh, why am I having to go through this? Why can't life be simple? Why can't I be in a summer season all the time? This is the time that God is purposely putting us through the storm, or through a tough time, or maybe through even what we feel is a little bit of suffering, or through what feels like a hurricane in our life with everything just disheveled and going everywhere. And it's because He is preparing us and getting us ready for something big. One of the toughest things that I've talked about this, and I still struggle with it, but it's finding ways to be grateful for the bad times, to be grateful for the storms. Even when Ian hit our condo and obviously hit our homes, went right through Winter Haven, Florida, at 90+ mile an hour winds, and even a couple of tornadoes came through. I mean, I had so much damage. I mean, we couldn't get out of, our driveway for a while. Power was out for almost 7 days. And there's a lot of things that happened with our trees that killed me. And I kept trying to find ways to be grateful for it. And I'll be honest, I really struggled, especially when the power's out. If you live through that, that's just not fun, especially when you've seen all the damage around the house and trees down and stuff. Man, it was really, really tough. What I did find, though, after talking to my neighbor who wasn't as bad, I was like, man, how did your trees not, get as bad? And how do you not have so much debris all over your yard? And I'll just tell you, I had to spend around $9,000 just for the debris pickup and all the trees to be cut, the ones that, cracked and fell down, et cetera. And he had told me that he had to spend over $20,000 because we're on some pretty bigger acres just to basically trim up all of his trees and get all of that debris shortly before the storm came. Ironically, I only had to spend $9,000. We have very, very similar lots. I had to spend $9,000 to clean it all up, and the storm did all the work for me without me having to hire a whole group and the $20,000. And the irony is, if you remember Ian, there was another storm right behind it that also went through Winter Haven, Florida, ironically. Not as strong as Ian, but I had zero damage because Ian had done all the work for me. So even the small things like that on finding ways to be grateful for the storms in our lives. But I mean, looking back, I still think that dealing with the anxiety attacks and even the cancer, I mean, that was what really forced me to look outside of my my own job that I really wasn't thrilled with. And I knew I didn't want to do it forever. That was really what gave me the courage to finally walk away and to try something new. I mean, that's why I'm at Salt Strong today. Had that not happened, I might still be at that old job. There's many of my buddies that we used to call kind of complain that are still there working that same job that they don't necessarily love, but it kind of pays the bills. So be the tree, be the palm tree, accept the storm, find ways to be grateful for it, and know that God is using it to strengthen you, to strengthen your roots, if you will. Hope that's helpful. I know there's so many people going through so many tough things, things that you might not want to share with other people, things that you're personally praying on. It could be job, it could be kids, family, cancer. I mean, we all know someone that we're close with that's dealing with that. Just know, regardless of how long it takes or what the circumstance is, that God doesn't make mistakes. And anytime there is a storm, it's there to strengthen you, to strengthen your roots. Accept the storm, find different ways to be grateful for it, and embrace it. And just know that you are absolutely getting stronger and that there is something big on the other end of it. So hope this hit the right person. I always pray before every podcast that this message hits the right person. And it was just perfect timing that my kids were asking me about this palm tree. I was like, all right, I need to do a podcast about being the palm, and not the lone palm. Be the palm that surrounds yourself with other people. It's the power of relationships. And I did not even know that until here recently, when I happened to do a little bit of research on the palm trees about how much more likely they are to withstand even 145, 150 mile an hour winds when there's other palms right around it. So guys, I love you. Hope this was helpful. Hit me up if you have any thoughts or questions. Joe@saltstrong.com. And I hope you have an amazing week.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul.